Okay, so in this lesson, we're going to work on using the percent proportion, finding whole, finding part, and we're really going to memorize this. Is over of equals percent over 100. There'll be another proportion similar but with different words down the line, but for now we're going to start here. Is over of equals percent over 100. So I can use that when I look at a problem like what is 60% of 100. I'm going to draw the beginnings of my proportion. I'm sorry, I misspoke. What is 60% of 90? I'm going to put 100 down here. I'm always going to have 100 in the bottom right when I'm drawing these proportions. I've got a couple things going on here. I have an is. What is? What kind of implies a question? I have a 60% and I have an of 90. So I need to fill in the sections of this equation. That would be for the is, for the of, and for the percent, because is over of equals percent over 100. Okay, easily I can put a 60 here because I'm looking at 60%, so I put 60 in the percent part of the proportion. Now that leaves a 90. The 90 is associated with the word of 90, so 90 is going to go here on the bottom of the other part of the proportion. That's the of part. And the is, I don't know. It's what is. That implies a question. There's no number here. So I'm going to use a variable. We like to use an x. You can use any variable you want. So I'm going to set it up like this. Now, I'm going to kind of draw a crisscross here. And it's going to remind me that when I multiply these two numbers together, it will be equal to when I multiply these two numbers together. So I'm going to multiply 90 times 60. I could write 90 times 60, and that will be equal to 100 times x, which really represents some kind of mysterious number. I don't know what it is. I'm going to run out of room. 90 times 60 is 5,400. 5,400 equals 100 times this mysterious x. Now, my job is to find out what x is equal to. So in order to get x, I need to divide by 100. I'm always going to divide each side of the proportion by the number that is associated with the variable. 100x divided by 100 is easy. That leaves x. 540 divided by 100 is also pretty easy. When dividing by 100, I could always cross out zeros, or I could take out a calculator and do 5,400 divided by 100, giving me 54 is equal to x. Super important that I just identify the is, the percent, the of. Super important that I draw this x and establish that they're equal. And super important that I divide by the number that's hanging out with the variable. Over here, what is? Once again, I don't know the is. 25% of 48. I'll set up my proportion. I'll try to give myself a little bit more room. 100 is always on the bottom right. 25%. The percent is always top right above the 100. Of 48. This part over here is over of. So that's the 48. It's in the of section. What is? I don't know what the is. So let me put an x. 100 times x, 100 times x will be equal to 48 times 25. And 48 times 25 is 1,200. Now, I don't want to find out what 100x is equal to. I want to find out what x is equal to. So what I need to do is divide each side of the equation by the number that sits with the letter, with the x. This crosses out, giving me x is equal to 1,200 divided by 100, which is 12. You can do that by crossing out zeros. I could also do that by pushing buttons on a calculator or long division or just knowing the fact. Okay, so these equations on the bottom appear differently. 22 is 50% of what number? Setting up my proportion, putting my 100 always on the bottom right. This is the is and the of percent over 100. The percent is usually always really easy to place. That's 50%. It goes there. 22 is and of what number? So 22 is means the 22 will go in the numerator over here. Of what number means I don't know what's in the of, so I'm going to put an X. Crisscross 50x, because they are together, equals 22 times 100, which is 2,200. I'm going to divide each side by 50, because I divide by the number that's with the x. X equals 2,200 divided by 50, which is 44. Next one similar. 40 is 20% of what number? Proportion is over of equals percent over 100. 20%, so the 20 goes there. 14 is, so the 14 goes there. Of what number? That's what I don't know. It's got the question mark. It's got the question word in what. Crisscross. 20 times x equals 14 times 100, or 1,400. Divide each side by the number with the x, or the m, or the l, or whatever you use, leaving me x equals 1,400 divided by 20, which is 70. Okay, so with this, it can look intimidating, but if you just follow is over of equals percent over 100, we do a lot of circling and underlining to know where things go. If you remember to make the x in the middle and to divide by the number that is with the letter, you're going to have no problem. It's going to be easy.